Animals play an indispensable role in human life. In this world, each different animal corresponds to a deity. These divine beasts bestow blessings and their power upon all of humanity. Upon reaching a certain age, Sophia officially inherits the power of one of the thousands of divine beasts. Her classmates don't particularly like Sophia, because she has red hair. The main character also draws her assigned card. Lacking self-confidence, she wishes she would draw the divine mole, so she can stay in the shadows. Unexpectedly, fate leads Sophia to choose the card of the divine gorilla, completely the opposite of her personality. During recess, her classmates gather around to interrogate her about which card she received. Carissa, the leader of the girls, doesn't like her at all, so Sophia is often bullied. Everyone thinks that no matter what she chose, it wouldn't be as good as blonde hair. Fortunately, at this moment, a popular upperclassman comes to the school, attracting their attention. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the main character slips away to eat lunch at this royal academy for the children of prestigious nobles, which is immensely vast. Students are trained in everything in life, so they don't need to worry about the future. After attending for a while, Sophia realizes that the boys will try to create relationships so they have someone to support them after graduation. The young ladies choose an easier path: marry any handsome man from a powerful family. The ranking system here is determined by the social status of the family. Because she's only the daughter of a count from a remote region, the main character is often bullied, and no one hangs out with her. She's always alone in a corner. As she's about to take out an apple to eat, she gently squeezes it and the apple is crushed to pieces. Despite receiving incredible strength from the gorilla, she can't control it yet. Since receiving the blessing, she has unintentionally damaged many things. After talking to the headmaster, he's shocked by the main character's card, saying that this is a very rare ability, almost no one achieves it. He has been in the profession for many years, but this is the first time he's seen anyone draw the gorilla. According to records, it's so rare that it only appears once every 50 years. It's rumored that the blessing from the divine gorilla is the strongest in combat abilities. Physical strength is 7 times that of humans. And the grip strength is also terrible, reaching over 500 kilograms. One squeeze and you're dead. Because she possesses such a powerful blessing, she was invited to talk. While pondering, a small squirrel suddenly runs over begging for food. Sophia likes cute things like this, so she gives it her pastry. In the afternoon, after school, she goes to see the headmaster to ask what's going on. He says there's just been a letter of invitation for recruitment by the Royal Knights. She won't have to join immediately, however this is a good opportunity for development, and she has to pass the entrance exam too. If she passes, she will have to gain experience as a trainee knight. The main character also asks why her, since she doesn't like it. The headmaster smiles and says that someone with the gorilla blessing must be in the warrior class. It would be a waste to not do anything with that kind of strength. In the past, people like her have all been like that. She's like, if this is a dream, please wake me up, it's so hard. The Royal Knight sounds noble, but it's too prominent for someone so insecure. If she refuses and her parents find out, she will surely be kicked out of the house for losing a good opportunity. Resisting the kingdom's orders will also lead to imprisonment. She reluctantly agrees, asking the teacher not to tell anyone about her abilities. Okay, rest assured, I'm tight-lipped. He also wishes his students success. Going outside into the garden, she sees that the bread has been eaten. Sophia thinks the squirrel ate it all. She's also currently having a headache because her peaceful life is about to be disrupted. To prevent that from happening, she thinks that on the day of the exam, she will pretend to fail, and that will be the end of it. Knights must of course be carefully selected, so if she just acts useless, she definitely won't be chosen. A few days later, the main character goes to the place where the test is held. Coincidentally, she sees an old man struggling with a cart. The cakes are ruined, and no one is helping him. With her compassionate nature, Sophia thinks she can help with the strength of the divine gorilla, but she doesn't want to stand out. After struggling with her conscience for a while, the main character finally decides to lend a hand. Unfortunately, after finishing, she gets lost and doesn't know where to go. While sitting sadly, a young man suddenly comes to ask her if she's okay. The special thing is that he is extremely handsome, causing Sophia to be mesmerized for a few seconds. She tells him that she's lost and hopes to receive help. After learning that she needs to get to the Royal Knight training area, he points in that direction. So she thanks him and leaves. Seeing this, the young man calls her back and uses a towel to wipe her face. She thinks he's drugging her to kidnap her, but the feeling of being cared for by a handsome man is really great. Not only that, he also makes plans to meet her again. But Sophia's mind is in the clouds, so she doesn't hear him. Finally, she arrives at the training area. There are many applicants, making the main character embarrassed because she doesn't know anyone. She wants to go home right now, but she still has to try to fail the exam, so she can win the life she has always wanted. She just hopes the exam will start quickly, because she's so embarrassed. At this moment, a group of people in royal attire walk in. Sophia recognizes that the young man who gave her directions is the examiner. The young man also thanks everyone for being here today, and introduces himself as Louis. The candidates call this young man the youngest knight, and his demeanor is different from the others here, even though his age isn't much different. The first test begins. They will test the acceleration ability of each person. When signaled, the candidates will have to run 100 m to the finish line as quickly as possible. A young man who is confident in his legs steps forward to volunteer as a model. He introduces himself as Isaac. The examiner agrees and signals for him to start immediately. That friend rushes straight to the finish line in 10 seconds, astonishing everyone. Sophia thinks to herself, if everyone here is like this, I definitely can't pass. Later, it's her turn. Everyone focuses on her because of her striking red hair and her gender. The boys snicker at her appearance. Running in front of so many eyes is really embarrassing, so she wants to try to finish the test, forgetting about failing. As a result, the gorilla power in her body is activated. Sophia does one thing and crashes through a wall, then pretends to be scared after running past the finish line. The boys who witnessed this are terrified, but still wonder if she's hurt. The main character feels that her body was very light, like she could run forever. At this point, Sophia realizes that gorillas have a speed of about 40 km/h. The next test is climbing the tower and ziplining. Louis will time how long it takes them to slide down. The main character is speechless, because she's quite afraid of heights. After reaching the top, she's shocked, because looking down is really terrifying. The boys push each other to go first. Seeing this, a friend named Eddie models his ability. He easily slides down without any problems, with quick operations and absolute confidence. Reaching a certain height, this young man directly drops the rope to get down faster. While admiring this person's ability, the main character notices that the young man Isaac, although fast, is more afraid of heights than her. Feeling sorry, she comforts him, saying she will go down first as a support to make him less scared. And he can follow so he can complete the test. A girl offers to help, and the young man regains his spirit, but feels pathetic for having to rely on a weak girl. The first part may be right, but the second part is wrong. They introduce themselves and become friends, praising her name as very beautiful. They zipline down together in front of everyone's eyes. Despite trying, Isaac is still very scared. His friend advises him not to look down, so he closes his eyes and relies on the feeling in his feet to slide down slowly. At this moment, a strong gust of wind blows, causing the young man to lose his balance. As a result, he falls with his safety rope broken. Witnessing this scene, Sophia uses her gorilla power to grab her new friend. He thanks her, and the main character is proud of her ability. Despite holding him with one hand, she doesn't feel heavy at all. However, another accident occurs when the hook holding the rope cannot withstand the weight of the two people and breaks. The pair fall straight down, endangering their lives. Fortunately, the instincts of the gorilla are activated unconsciously. The main character switches to a position of holding Isaac hand in hand so she can bear all the damage. The impact causes the ground to shake, but the two are safe. Isaac is very grateful for being saved. He doesn't know what to do to repay his friend. People start paying more attention to this pair. Louis has to announce that the test will continue and they should go to their positions. Sophia is called to another place because she is injured in her hand. Being cared for like that, she looks again and sees that she really is bleeding. However, because she has the blessing of the divine gorilla, she doesn't feel any pain. Taking her to the infirmary, Louis also helps bandage her up, and sees that Isaac really likes this girl. He also chuckles at her cluelessness. At first, the main character thought this person was serious because he was an examiner. But he turned out to be quite easygoing. The young man then took her hand and massaged it, which surprised the gorilla girl. Sophia didn't think Louis would be embarrassed because of her. Actually, Louis was quite curious about the arm that had held Isaac to safely jump down. Based on the results of the speed test, he thought Sophia was talented in her legs, but unexpectedly, her arms were also so strong. When he asked Sophia why she was here, she couldn't possibly say that she was sent because she had the blessing of the gorilla god. Fortunately, Louis was understanding and didn't pry too much into her personal life. After the wound was bandaged, the female lead was escorted back outside. Currently, everyone was in the swordsmanship test. And everyone seemed tired but still had enough strength to break each other's weapons. Sophia was secretly happy that she was called down to the infirmary so she wouldn't participate in this test. Suddenly, she thought, could it be that she had already failed the test? This meant that she had achieved her goal of coming here, but she would never see Louis again. Sophia had to wake herself up to the fact that the two of them lived in different worlds. How could they possibly be in love? She would return to her ordinary life as she wished. In the afternoon, after everyone had completed the challenge, they were sent home to wait for the results. Louis also thanked the female lead for her hard work today. Thanks to Sophia, a life was saved, so they were very grateful. Isaac then ran to his new friend, expressing concern about whether her wound was okay. From the swordsmanship session until now, he had been afraid that something serious had happened to Sophia, so he stayed outside to watch. Sophia had to reassure him, saying "I'm fine," and the young man sighed in relief. Isaac was then told by Lewis to thank her properly, and he also praised his legs as great, hoping to work together in the future. On the way home, the two of them praised Lewis as having no flaws. Isaac had known Lewis for a long time. Since he was 15 years old, he had been a member of the trainee night team, unlike them who had to wait for a blessing to participate in the exam. Lewis was the heir to a family that for generations had specialized in producing knights and commanders. His swordsmanship was the best in that team, but Lewis was not arrogant because he was talented, which is why everyone liked him. Isaac also admired him very much, so he tried to join the night team to follow in his footsteps. Hearing that, Sophia also admired him very much because he had a clear goal to strive for. She herself just wanted to be an ordinary person with a peaceful life. The gorilla power should have been given to someone with the will to succeed like Lewis. A little further on, they were surprised to see Eddie being bullied. They called him a bastard who dared to register here. Everyone laughed at this unhappy thing, so the two of them intervened. They looked at each other and smiled as if they understood each other, and then ran to invite Eddie to go home together. Hearing that, the group continued to laugh scornfully and then turned to target Sophia, attacking her for being a girl and also participating in the exam. Sophia didn't care and asked them to leave her friend alone. They agreed, but they had to beat her first. Isaac then stepped in, reasoned with them, "It's not manly to lay hands on women." Eddie didn't plan to cause trouble at first, but he still had to punch one of them to let them know. He told the other two to leave it to them. Then the other one also rushed in and was beaten to a pulp. One of them then grabbed her wrist, which frightened Sophia. Instinctively, she yanked away, and as a result, the guy was slammed into a tree. Daring to mess with a gorilla is a big mistake. Sophia, embarrassed, turned to everyone and asked, "Can we talk calmly now?" After resolving the situation, the female lead sighed because she almost killed the guy. Isaac praised his friend, saying she was too amazing. Sophia, on the other hand, was sad because the two guys had called her a monster. When asked about where her strength came from, Sophia didn't dare to say. However, Eddie was the smart type and immediately guessed that Sophia's blessing was from the gorilla god. Considering what she had shown, it was completely in line with what he thought. There's no way a girl could support a person heavier than herself up so high. In addition, Sophia's stone running style surpassed even the fastest runner. Isaac chuckled, saying that the blessing of the dog could run even faster. Having been revealed as a gorilla, Sophia looked worried. But turning around, she saw that Eddie was jealous because he really wanted that ability. He thought his friend didn't know how amazing the gorilla's blessing was. Isaac was the same, so he was told. The speed of a gorilla can reach 40 kilometers per hour, muscle strength is 7 times that of a grown adult, grip strength can reach 500 kilograms, and after receiving the blessing, Sophia inherited all that strength. The ancients said that this wonderful blessing was one of the two types with the strongest fighting abilities in the world. Yet Sophia's personality didn't brag at all, and she even appeared timid, not like a gorilla at all. Isaac didn't understand much, but still praised the girl as great. Nevertheless, Eddie still thanked them for using their strength to help him. The trio of friends was thus formed. Isaac introduced himself as having received the blessing from the dog, and Eddie only said that he was 16 years old this year, and didn't say what his blessing was, because letting too many people know this could become a weakness. However, both of them stared wide-eyed at Sophia, who flinched and admitted that she had been blessed by the gorilla god. She also asked them to keep this a secret for her. Both agreed, because they'd just leave the clueless ones to their business. After introducing themselves, they realized that they were all the same age. Isaac also hoped that everyone would pass so that they could work together for a long time to come. Suddenly, the female lead's mood became much happier. Unfortunately, she wouldn't be able to see them again in the future because she would be eliminated. Unfortunately, things didn't go as Sophia thought. The headmaster said that Sophia had actually passed, even though she hadn't participated in some of the final exams. In general, he didn't know how they were graded, but in fact, her ability was highly rated. The girl lamented and complained because of that. She also passed. As a result, after school she would have to participate in trainee night training. The after effects of this haunted her until several lessons later. Her mind was like she was in the clouds. Suddenly at this time, 2 transfer students came to their class. The girls thought they were too handsome. After hearing the introduction, they realized that it was Isaac and Eddie. The female lead was startled, not wanting her classmates to know that they knew each other, so she tried to hide, but unfortunately Isaac recognized her and even called out her name loudly. Eddie had seen her from before and told him he was too talkative. Sophia also smiled and said goodbye to her peaceful school life. After going outside, she asked her 2 friends to keep secret the matter of joining the trainee night team. Although they didn't understand much, they still agreed. Isaac wondered why she had to hide that matter. Actually, in the female lead's eyes, these two young men had no less beauty than Louis, and if the girls hated her, knowing that she would be with them for a long time, she would die. She asked them to lie that they had only met each other once in the past. After returning, she was surprised to see a crowd gathering. Sophia then congratulated the two others on passing. Wondering which character was so popular, it turned out to be Louis. Seeing the three of them, he immediately greeted them, calling Sophia's name as if they were close, causing the whole school to glare. From now on, they would be studying together here, so he hoped to be taken care of. When asked why Louis was here, she learned that he was allowed to prioritize trainee night training, so he wasn't at school much, but in reality, he had been studying here before. The young man reintroduced himself as 18 years old this year, a senior, and also congratulated all three on passing. Before he could finish speaking, Sophia immediately covered his mouth and pushed him away. Fortunately, Louis was very strong, so he wasn't hurt. Asked what was wrong, Sophia asked him to keep it a secret. More importantly, there was a dark atmosphere behind them. As expected, after returning to her seat, the whole group swarmed her, Carissa wanting to know what her relationship was with the senior they admired. The female lead gently replied that the two of them had only met once, so there was no relationship. They didn't believe her because they saw Louis smiling and talking like that. In addition, she was also close to the two transfer students. They guessed that they knew each other from before and really wanted to know if Isaac and Eddie had girlfriends. At this rate, lunchtime would be over, so Sophia tricked them all into looking elsewhere, and used her gorilla speed to run away. Thinking that it was safe here, the two others came to sit together, and they were also surrounded, so they could finally eat. In the end, the female lead attracted even more attention. Eddie felt annoyed because the students at this school were really free. Asking what each other's hobbies were made him tired. Isaac, seeing that his friend was eating so little, wanted to share a piece of steak, which made the female students even angrier. Louis also came to have lunch afterwards. Tomorrow was the induction ceremony, and he also asked if they were ready. Before she could finish telling the story, the female lead hurriedly ate quickly to run away, otherwise she would get into trouble. Louis also showed concern, which made Sophia suddenly feel a sense of regret. While thinking, Louis chased after her and gave her some cake, thinking that she ate too little for lunch and was afraid she wouldn't have enough strength to train. Louis even asked her to keep it a secret from Isaac and Eddie, as if it was just for her. After being happy for a few seconds, she turned around and saw a group of female students burning with murderous intent, and Carissa had also seen it, demanding an explanation for this. The next day, Sophia went to the training grounds with her two friends, but she couldn't stop thinking about what happened yesterday. The girls, out of jealousy, swarmed her dormitory to cause trouble. Luckily, the quick-witted heroine claimed she'd known the upperclassmen since childhood and they'd only been together a few times. Carissa, hearing this, was satisfied, thinking that Louis would never waste his time on someone as clumsy as her. Thanks to that, she escaped the clutches of her friends, but the damage from those words really stung. Looking at herself, Sophia realized she never bothered to fix her hair or dress up. She was tall and lanky, with no meat on her bones. Being called clumsy was probably right. And on top of that, she got blessed by the gorilla god. If this got out, the whole school would laugh and she'd have nowhere to hide. The candidates were then gathered. At this time, the squad leaders came out to greet them and encourage them. Everyone here was an excellent warrior selected from countless young candidates, so they had to be ready to sacrifice themselves to protect the peace of the kingdom. Knights should be role models. Therefore, he didn't want anyone here causing trouble that would affect the whole squad. Everyone was proud and conscious of their position. Only Sophia didn't want to participate, so she hesitated. Just as she looked up, the squad leader singled her out and reminded her to take care of her bangs because they would interfere with combat. Isaac and Eddie, seeing their friend standing there like a statue, were a little worried. Because she'd been told that night the heroine tried to cut her bangs short herself, but they looked terrible. She imagined the two of them laughing at her country bumpkin hairstyle and felt embarrassed, but she had no choice and decided to just shave them off. Unfortunately, at that moment, the power of the gorilla activated and crushed the scissors. The heroine was indescribably sad because she still couldn't control this power. The next day, she chose to go to a barber shop because she couldn't do anything at home. There was a festival going on there, but Sophia had to cover herself up to avoid being seen. She wandered around trying to find a barber shop, but she couldn't find one. But there was a lot of food around, and everything looked delicious. Suddenly, Louis came up and called to her, startling her. The young man asked where she was going, and the heroine was so embarrassed that she had to cover her hair. He was quite familiar with the place and said to just tell him which shop she wanted to go to. Hearing this, the girl shyly asked where the barber shop was to fix her hair. She'd always cut her own hair at home, so she didn't know any places. The couple then went to find a friend of Louis to ask for help. The older brother had a scary face, along with a long scar, which frightened Sophia. She had to ask again if this was a barber shop, because he looked so dangerous. The older brother was quite curious because he rarely saw Louis bring a girl. After introducing her as his junior, he was even more excited. The heroine was horrified and thought that this guy was a mercenary, not a barber. The girl was asked to take off her scarf, and after looking her over, he was shocked by the messed up bangs. Usually people use scissors, but this guy specializes in using a knife to cut hair, saying that the damaged part needs to be handled carefully and gently. It's just that his tone of voice was like he wanted to eat people alive. Luckily, Louis spoke up and said that the boss used to be in the night squad, so don't worry. He looks scary, but he's very kind. Asking the heroine what kind of haircut she wanted, she only asked to make it shorter. Hearing this, the boss remembered that there was a tea party organized by the school coming up, so he wanted to choose a style that would allow her to feel confident in front of her friends. The bangs would have to be fixed, but the length was still good, so he left it as it was. The upperclassman then excused himself to continue his patrol and left this to the kind older brother. Sophia didn't dare to open her eyes, she only knew to pray to God to help her return alive. Later, when she opened her eyes, she was shocked at how amazing the hairstyle was. To the point where she didn't even recognize herself. The boss praised her face as very beautiful, so she should take care of herself. Louis also finished his work and changed into his casual clothes. The young man also praised the style as very suitable. She had to thank the scary boss a lot, after asking about the fee. The upperclassman left first. The barber said that it had already been paid, so just go home. Hearing this, she quickly ran after Louis to thank him. Actually, yesterday she felt that the squad leader's reminder was a bit too much and she should have reminded her from the beginning, but she forgot, so she considered the payment to be an apology. Being cared for by a handsome guy, the heroine was quite happy, and went to the bakery where the upperclassman had stopped before. Guessing that he liked this kind of thing, she took the initiative to invite him. To be honest, he quite liked sweets, but there were only girls inside, so he was a little embarrassed to go in. Sophia guessed that the reason was probably because the girls were all staring at him, so he was embarrassed. At first, the heroine was also worried that if she invited him in and happened to be seen by the girls at school, then her life would be over. While Louis really wanted to try this shop out. Seeing that cute face, Sophia regained her courage, the gorilla's power surged. And crushed the difficulty in front of her. And then she took the initiative to invite Louis, so it would be less embarrassing. After a while, sure enough, the young man was noticed by the girls. If he went alone, it would probably be chaotic. Sophia now understood the pressure the upperclassman had to endure. Fortunately, when he came in, he only looked to see if there was anything delicious, and didn't bother to pay attention to the surroundings. When it came time to order, the heroine only chose one type of strawberry cake, while Louis put on an eager face and ordered a whole bunch. He even asked to prepare a few types for him to take home. Seeing Sophia looking at him, the young man explained that he didn't get to eat like this often. So he had to take the opportunity. Later, a whole table of sweets was brought out. Louis was like a 3-year-old who had just been bought a toy by his parents. Completely different from the serious upperclassman at school. Seeing him happy like this was also good because she had repaid him for the haircut earlier. The young man also had to thank her. It was fortunate that she was there today, so he was able to enjoy so many sweets. Sophia thought that he had no shortage of people to go with, so next time he should just ask someone else. But Louis said that he didn't know anyone. Although there were a lot of girls surrounding him and even rumors about a fiancé, he said that he didn't have any engagement with anyone. Before completing the goal, he said he would still be the same as he is now and couldn't think about marriage. Hearing this, she was quite curious about what goal he had. Later, the young man asked about her having the blessing of the gorilla, and said that he didn't mean to pry, he just thought her abilities were amazing and didn't want to force Sophia to tell the truth. The heroine was a little disappointed in herself for revealing it to the upperclassmen, but seeing that both sides were in the night squad, she would definitely be found out, so she told the truth. She also said that she must be very strange because she, a girl, had such a violent power. She was afraid that she would be hated, but on the contrary, Louis admired her for always caring for others before herself. Surely that kindness was seen by the gorilla god, so he chose her. That power was the power used to help others. The heroine asked again if he didn't hate her for having this ability. The young man completely had no problem, he was just a little worried because she was a girl, even though she had a powerful blessing, she could still encounter difficulties, unlike the men. He also told her that if she had any difficulties, just tell him, don't be afraid, he would help if he could. On the way home, the heroine imagined herself being liked by the upperclassmen, and then reminded herself that there was no way that would happen. Louis was just kind in the way of a junior. Only now did she notice that she didn't know what his blessing was at all. Remembering the principal's words about how besides the gorilla, there was another type that was just as strong. Suppose he had the same blessing as her, he would probably be very happy. Changing the scene to the squad leaders at the night squad, the blonde one just looked at Sophia's file and was quite surprised that she had the gorilla blessing. The friend, seeing the chief looking so intently, was also curious and guessed that there were many interesting kids among the new recruits this year. As for the heroine, she was currently being chased by a group of girls, but fortunately she was used to escaping, so she ran away immediately. Isaac then looked sad that his friend didn't wait for him. Eddie was also tired from having to practice with two people who had their stamina. He also knew that there would be a shooting test later, while Isaac was completely clueless about this. Immediately afterwards, the new recruits were introduced to the current guns. Sophia and Isaac also joked that they were afraid they would explode. To ensure safety, each person would be given armor made from people with the blessing of the spider. Even if they were shot, their lives would not be in danger. Just then, squad leader Lur, who had the blessing of the bird, came to see how talented the new recruits were. The others were nothing special, but Lur was extremely talented in aiming and shooting. The squad leader guessed that he was from the Fett family, so he was so good. He didn't like talking about his family, so he didn't answer. It was the heroine's turn, and she thought to herself that she had to at least try to stay safe. The next second, she crushed the gun. The squad leader laughed because he didn't expect this to happen. Lur also praised the younger sister as amazing, calling Sophia the gorilla girl. After the test, he thought that after becoming an official, there would be a few who were capable of joining his shooting squad. However, he also showed them what it really meant to be talented. Just like that, Lur flew up and shot every bullseye. Everyone had to admire the performance. On the way back, they praised Lur wholeheartedly and also admitted that Sophia was no less talented. He said that he was recruited thanks to that incident. No wonder he was so good at shooting. They talked about the party next week. Sophia had forgotten about it, even though she was reminded by the barber the other day. The two of them were looking forward to seeing their friend in a dress. Hearing this, she was also embarrassed because she had never been to a party before, so she didn't have a dress prepared. As for the squad leaders, they were gathered. Lur talked about the new recruit who had the gorilla blessing, in a very happy mood. The squad leader reminded him to keep a sense of proportion, however, he had his eyes on the prey Sophia, so he wouldn't let her get away. A few days later, Sophia's family sent her a new dress. The problem was, it was so brightly colored that she didn't dare wear it. Sophia also considered skipping the party altogether, but she was afraid her friends would tease her. Although she felt a bit guilty towards her parents for going to the trouble of sewing a new dress, Sophia reluctantly put it away to find something else. After arriving at the student party, Sophia noticed that everyone was in pairs. Carissa arrived with someone else, and even recognized the dress the main character was wearing. It turned out Sophia was wearing something from middle school. Thankfully she wasn't caught. Carissa's companion introduced himself as Leo. He seemed quite interested in the main character, but before he could continue, Carissa cut in, asking if Sophia dared to attend the party without a partner. Hearing this, the main character became quite sad because she didn't have anyone to accompany her. Just as she was thinking of running out of the party, Sophia bumped into Louis. He called her by her full name, which the main character didn't understand. Suddenly noticing that she was crying, Louis asked what was wrong. Sophia pretended that dust had gotten in her eyes, but ended up being grabbed by the hand and taken to the infirmary. Feeling too pressured, the girl finally admitted that she didn't have a partner to attend the party. After saying this, Sophia felt terrible for suddenly confessing this to her senior. Unexpectedly, Louis was also alone, so he wanted the two of them to pair up, that way they would be eligible to participate. Returning to the main hall, everyone began to wonder who the girl accompanying Louis was. Sophia had to ask again to make sure that it was okay for him to be with her, worried that many girls had already asked him. Louis said that this was actually the first time he had heard about having a partner. He was only asked if he was going to attend the party, but no one had ever invited him to go with them. Hearing this, the main character misunderstood all sorts of things. Carissa and her group of girls, seeing their intimate scene, were not happy at all, wanting to remind the main character of her place. And so, the three friends stood up to greet her again, also not expecting the main character to be waiting for their Louis. One of them approached, pretending to hand Sophia a glass of water, but before she could take it, the other girl let go. With the reaction of a gorilla, the main character made an extremely quick catch, scaring the friends half to death. Carissa didn't understand what had just happened, so she temporarily retreated, thinking of another way. The senior, having seen this scene, praised Sophia for catching it so well, without spilling a single drop. The main character then had to ask about the thing about calling her by her full name in the hallway, not just once, but throughout the conversation he seemed wary. Louis then leaned close to Sophia's ear, saying that this morning some organization had sent a letter threatening that explosives had been planted here. It's also possible that this was just a prank. However, we still need to be careful. There are many students attending the party today. It is very likely that the senders of the letter are targeting the children of powerful families. The Knight's Order had proposed canceling the party, but it was rejected. The parents of the students reacted too strongly, so they only knew how to raise their vigilance and ensure security. He himself is participating in this party, on the surface, to secretly investigate as well. Isaac and Eddie have already taken action, which is why they can't be seen. The main character is a promising rookie, so she also needs to assist in the investigation. That's why he called out her name in such a serious manner, like two people in the Knight's Order. After receiving the order, Sophia had to take Lewis's hand to investigate. Lewis thought that if they were partners, they should be like this, so as not to be suspected. Although a little shy, this was work, so she tried to hide her face to avoid being hated by others. Carissa, witnessing this scene, was spitting blood because they were even more intimate than before. The couple wandered around on the upper floor, but saw nothing but piercing stares directed at the main character. Just as she was thinking of standing away from Lewis a bit, the blonde-haired group came to make trouble. Carissa took the initiative to say hello, and Lewis also replied, thanking her for always being so close to Sophia. After hearing this, Carissa suddenly became uneasy because they weren't close at all. Another one then approached the main character, using scissors to ruin her dress. Although she had noticed, she was afraid of hurting her friend with the power of the gorilla, so she let it be. Seeing this, Lewis stood up and exposed that girl, flinging away the scissors, asking what she was planning to do, to which she explained that she was just joking. Lewis reasoned that even though they were scissors, they were still sharp enough to hurt someone. Sophia knew the story was going too far, so she stepped in to stop it. Unexpectedly, after seeing her arm being cut, Lewis used his jacket to cover it, and even caught the girl when she slipped and fell. Taking advantage, Lewis just carried her away in front of everyone's eyes. The sisterhood cheered as if it were the right thing to do, only Carissa was very annoyed. The couple then went outside, Lewis muttering to himself that he couldn't protect a girl. How terrible. The main character, of course, didn't care because she was also a knight, and a gorilla at that. Sophia asked to be put down, but Lewis wanted to take her to buy another dress. Out of options, she admitted that she still had a dress that she hadn't worn yet. At first, she didn't think she would need to use it, but in the end she had to wear it to save money on buying another dress. At this moment, Sophia just wanted to run away somewhere far, but thinking of Lewis getting angry with her, she didn't dare to keep him waiting. Not wanting to make Lewis worry any longer, she also cleaned herself up to look like a rookie of the Knight's Order. After changing, she quickly ran downstairs, only to meet Leo here. He felt honored that the main character remembered his name. When asked about Leo not being with Carissa, he exposed her, saying that she was busy hanging out with friends, so she left him behind. The other party lightly touched her chin, praising Sophia for having such a beautiful face but not wearing makeup, what a waste, and even enticing her to say that he could help her become even more beautiful. Sophia then swatted his hand away, saying she was in a hurry, but he blocked her path, saying he was too lonely. Suddenly, Isaac and Eddie called out, so he gave up because he knew they were Sophia's knights. The main character still didn't understand anything. But she surprised her friends with her beauty. Isaac curiously asked who that guy from earlier was, and she said she had only just met him and didn't know his background. Isaac reiterated the incident in the school, suspecting that there was a bomb. Although they had searched everywhere, they still hadn't found anything. So, it's highly likely that this was just a prank by someone. Although it was a bit late, the two still asked their friend to come to the party to eat and drink, while also reporting back to their senior about the search results. Just as they were about to leave, the main character was suddenly called back by Eddie. He looked at her and said this wasn't good, so he dragged her away to put on makeup. She couldn't have that sleepy face. Later, Sophia returned with a completely different look, making everyone look up. They didn't expect their school to have such a beautiful student. Lewis was also stunned for a moment. The three dreamy knights escorted Sophia inside, making her feel ashamed. The surprising thing was that she didn't know who Eddie had learned makeup from, but he was even better than a girl. Sophia suddenly realized that these two didn't have partners either, so she asked. They looked surprised, not understanding what she was saying. This is a party for students in the school, so why do we need someone to go with us? At this moment, she realized that she had been tricked by Carissa from the start, so she had to apologize to Lewis for making everyone misunderstand that they were a couple. Lewis didn't care about that, saying he was happy too, so don't worry. Isaac then made a reservation, wanting her to be his partner next year. The enemy, standing from afar, couldn't accept this scene. All dressed up and escorted by the three most handsome young men in the school, it was unforgivable. The two friends following Carissa were scared, and didn't dare to touch the main character. Out of options, this time the blonde will take action herself. Later, Sophia saw a scene of a friend looking for something and also came over to ask. The friend also said that she had lost an important earring and had to find it again. Sophia then said she knew where it had fallen and lured the friend to follow. The kind main character agreed to help. What the heck, she was taken to the old part of the school. After finding the earring that had fallen inside the room, the door outside was closed along with an apology. It turned out that Carissa had forced this girl to do as she was told, and before leaving, she also promised to come and let her out at the end of the party, leaving Sophia speechless. Even so, she didn't blame her because she knew that the girl's status wasn't high and it was understandable that she was being bullied. So she decided to help her and lock herself in here. If she used the power of the gorilla god, these wooden doors wouldn't be a problem. Since she was sitting in a box, later some people misunderstood that this was merchandise and moved it to another place. Afraid of startling people, Sophia remained silent. The feeling was like a gorilla being imprisoned.